Right now, somewhere on Earth, two people are texting each other at 2 a.m. about nothing. And that exact feeling, the stupid, glowing, can't sleep feeling, is older than farming. It's older than writing. It's older than the word love. So here's the question. How did ancient humans fall in love? Back when there were no candles, no poems, no privacy, and no word for any of it. Let's start with the uncomfortable part. For a long time, a lot of people assumed romantic love was basically an invention, a luxury, something that showed up late, once humans had cities and leisure and troubadours singing under balconies. The idea was that before all that, mating was just logistics. You survive, you reproduce, you move on. That story is almost certainly wrong. Because when anthropologists went looking, they found romantic love pretty much everywhere. Not in a few unusual cultures, in the overwhelming majority of human societies studied, including small-scale foraging groups with no writing, no money, and no concept of Valentine's Day. People fall in love. People elope. People get their hearts broken. People sing sad songs about someone who chose somebody else. If love were a cultural invention, it wouldn't keep getting reinvented in every corner of the planet independently. That's not how inventions work. That's how instincts work. So let's rewind. Way back. Picture a small band of humans. Maybe 30 people. Everyone knows everyone. You've known this person since you were both children. You've watched them grow up. There is no meeting cute, no swiping, no bar, no first date. There is just this face you've seen 10,000 times, and then one day it hits differently. That's the ancient version of falling in love. And honestly, it's still one of the most common versions today. Now here's what's actually happening under the hood, and it's kind of hilarious how little has changed. Your brain runs love in roughly 3 overlapping systems. There's lust, the raw drive, powered by sex hormones, and it isn't especially picky. There's attraction, the obsessive, energized, can't eat, can't sleep phase, where your reward circuitry fixates on one specific person and floods you with dopamine every time you think about them. And there's attachment, the calmer, deeper bond that keeps two people together long enough to raise a child who, let's be honest, is completely helpless for an absurdly long time. That third system is the key to the whole thing. Human babies are ridiculous. A baby horse walks within hours. A human baby can't hold up its own head for months, can't walk for a year, and needs feeding, carrying, and protecting for years after that. In a world of predators, hunger, and cold, raising one of those alone was brutally hard. So evolution did something clever. It didn't just make us want to reproduce. It made us want to stay. It built a chemical bond, oxytocin, vasopressin, the attachment cocktail, that made two people find each other comforting, familiar, necessary, not forever, necessarily, but long enough. Love, in other words, isn't decoration on top of survival. Love was the survival strategy. Now, how did they actually do it? What did ancient courtship look like? We can't watch it. Nobody filmed the Pleistocene. But we can triangulate from 3 things: what we find in the ground, what we see in living hunter-gatherer societies, and what our own bodies still do without asking permission. Start with the body. Every human culture, everywhere, does roughly the same flirting sequence. Prolonged eye contact, the quick look away, the nervous laugh, touching your own hair, your own neck, turning your body to face someone slightly more than necessary. These are not learned behaviors. Deaf and blind children do versions of them, and we do them before we consciously decide to. Ancient humans flirted with the same equipment. They just had fewer distractions. Then there's music, and this one is fascinating. We found flutes carved from bird bone and mammoth ivory that are tens of thousands of years old, real instruments with finger holes capable of playing a scale. Someone sat in a cave and carved a hole into a bone so that it would make a nicer sound. Why? Darwin's guess was courtship. That music, like a bird song, was partly a way of saying, look what I can do. We can't prove that, but we can prove that a very long time ago, humans were making beautiful noises on purpose, and humans have been using beautiful noises to seduce each other for as long as anyone has been paying attention. Then there's decoration. Shell beads, pierced and strung, going back tens of thousands of years. Ochre, red pigment, used on bodies. Ivory, carved into pendants. These are objects with no survival function whatsoever. You cannot eat a bead. You cannot hunt with a necklace. Their entire purpose is to be seen. and to say something about the person wearing them. That is ancient humans getting dressed up. That is someone standing at the mouth of a cave, adjusting their beads, hoping a particular somebody notices. And then there are the burials. This is where it stops being theory and starts being a punch to the chest. Archaeologists have found ancient graves where two people were laid down together, deliberately, facing each other, arms arranged around one another, sometimes with grave goods, beads, tools, flowers, ochre, placed with obvious care. Now, careful here. We don't know their names. We don't know their relationship. We can't read a gravestone that doesn't exist, and it's easy to project our own stories onto old bones. But we do know this much. Someone, thousands of years ago, was grieving. Someone took the time to arrange a body with tenderness, to give it things, to place it next to another body rather than alone. Whatever that is, it's not indifference. Grief that elaborate only comes from a bond that deep. So what didn't they have? They didn't have privacy. The modern idea of a couple as a sealed, separate unit is unusual in human history. Ancient love happened in public, inside a group that had opinions about it. They didn't have choice the way we imagine it. In many societies, ancient and modern, marriage was an alliance between families, a negotiation about resources and kin. Love and marriage were often two different things, which is exactly why so many cultures have stories about lovers running away. The elopement story is universal because the conflict is universal. The heart wants one thing, the family wants another. And they didn't have our timeline. Life was shorter, harsher, more interrupted. Love had to happen fast and hold on hard. But strip all that away, and what's left is startlingly recognizable. Someone catching someone else's eye across a fire. Someone carving a bone flute to impress a person who might not even be listening. Someone stringing shells into a necklace, hoping. Someone lying awake in the dark, thinking about a face they've seen 10,000 times. Wondering why it suddenly feels like the only face in the world. Someone, at the end of it all, being placed in the ground with their arms around another person, because whoever buried them could not stand the idea of them being alone. We like to think we invented romance, that it's a modern thing, a civilized thing, a thing made of poetry and roses and playlists. We didn't invent it. We inherited it. It was already running in our chests before we had a single word to describe it. And every love song ever written is just a very late attempt to explain a feeling that came first. So yes, right now, two people are texting each other at 2 a.m. about nothing. And 40,000 years ago, under a completely different sky, someone was lying awake with exactly the same problem. And no phone to blame it on.